Great moments are born from great opportunity. And that's what you have here tonight, boys.
I'm talking about we're beaten.
We're not beaten.
I'm not beaten. We're in this game. Anybody here tired?
No.
Sonny,
Not tired.
Holt,
I'm just warming up, Sheriff.
Connor,
I'm ready, John.
Bertie, you with us?
Yep.
Good. Because the Rangers are starting to breathe through their mouths. The strides are getting shorter. Do not give these guys too much respect. They didn't pull a dog sled, did they?
No.
Didn't skate the river, did they?
No.
This is our pond.
Now Cameron Hughes gets the red over the line. Clean pass for Morrison across. The shot, they score! Ryan Winterton and the Firebirds take the lead. 6:08 to go in the first period. Logan Morrison right up the tape for Winterton. And Coachella Valley out in front for the first time in the series.
You know they just want you to bleed, right? I'm here to do whatever they need me to do. You know, if they need me to bleed, then I'll bleed for my team.
Let's go. Pretty boy. Let's go. Introduce yourself.
Jim.
My name's also Jim.
Problem solved.
Thanks, James.
Now, as far as serving the tendy goes, if they're shooting, you're getting your body in front of it. Everybody blocking shots. All you useless guys, blocking shots, bugging Appledorns. Now everybody knows the role. Eh, Sanguinet?
Everyone knows the role. Everyone does their job.
Yeah, so.
For Parsonen, McCormick tries to jam it loose in front, comes to Del Gaizo, pass broken up, John Hayden coming in shorthanded, looking for the hat trick, Hayden's in, he scores! John Hayden, a shorthanded goal, the hat trick for Hayes, 1:57 left in the second period, and it's 5-1 Coachella Valley.
I want to win that championship tonight, but I want to win it clean. Old-time hockey. Like when I got started, you know? Peters, Toe Blake, Dick Clapper, Eddie Shore, those guys were the greats.
Reg is our coach.
Yeah, sure, old-time hockey. Like Eddie Shore.
Yeah. Coach, our line starts.
Sure.
You were born to be hockey players. Every one of you. And you were meant to be here tonight. This is your time.
Greetings, friends, and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Fire and Ice, the official podcast of your Coachella Valley Firebirds, two-time defending Western Conference champions of the American Hockey League. Coming to you from Palm Desert, California, a mere Logan Morrison face-off win away from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer, along with this bi-monthly endeavor across the course of this third season of Firebirds hockey. Also again have the privilege and the pleasure of serving as your Firebirds Insider. Those Firebirds Insider articles may be found with all things Coachella Valley Firebirds. Find it online at cvfirebirds.com. That's your hockey home and your hub for everything, including, albeit not limited to, tickets, roster information, team merchandise, and community. Per community, the One Valley Foundation, mentioned those Firebirds Insider articles. The one coming out in December is focusing on all the great work being done by the Birds charitable arm, the One Valley Foundation. You know, all those jerseys, all those auction jerseys, all those specialty jerseys that you see your hockey pals bidding on and ultimately winning. Well, the proceeds from those are really going to do some incredible things here around the desert, all compliments of the Birds and the One Valley Foundation. All right, this program would not be possible, it also need be noted, without the support of our sponsor, Desert Willow Golf Resort, also right here in sunny Palm Desert, California, home to the Mountain View and Firecliff courses, respectively. You can get tee times online at desertwillow.com. You know I love a good segue. I call it a putt-to-puck day. Go tee it up at Desert Willow, drive about 3 miles down Cook, slide it on over to Varner, and then go to a Birds hockey game over at Acrisure Arena. Overseed note, the Firecliff course, the aforementioned Firecliff course, not open right now. It is going to be soon. Reopening on 12/20, that is December 20th. Desert Willow will be back to its full complement of 36 holes. At this time, however, get those tee times for the Mountain View, not to mention the awesome and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy for all your swing lesson and tutelage needs. All right, dudes, not alone on this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast, joined for the first time, I might add, left up, chin down, them's fighting words. Look forward to welcoming Birds frontliner Ian McKinnon making his debut on the Fire and Ice podcast. Look forward to visiting with Ian here shortly. In the interim, let's digress. Let us step back for a moment for this episode's Firebirds Freeze Frame segment. Birds with a mark of 10-6-1-2. That's 23 cumulative points for those keeping score at home. 10-6-1-2 thus far into what is still a young portion of the season. Currently 4th in the Pacific Division. However, just 1 point behind second place San Jose and Colorado. Calgary, mind you, remains in first place in the Pacific with 31 points. That is tied for best in the American Hockey League. Birds, of course, were riding a 10-game point streak into this week's matchup with the Henderson Silver Knights. Not the shiniest moment for our boys, falling 4-3 to Henderson. Fear not, we'll segue to the schedule because the boys are going to get right back at it this Thursday, December 5, again against the Texas Stars, which we faced this Saturday past. Fell that game in a shootout. Very well played game, high intensity. Former Birds Cole Lind and Cameron Hughes. Yeah, we're going to see them again this Thursday, December 5. Texas Stars back at Acrisure Arena. Puck drops at 7 p.m. Pacific. Boys then hit the road up yonder California coast for a double dip against the aforementioned San Jose Barracuda. Yeah, San Jose much better this year. Doing so with another couple of former Birds, Andrew Podorowski and Jimmy Schultz. Double dip against San Jose taking place this Saturday, December 7th. That's a 6 p.m. start. And then back-to-back, Sunday, December 8th at San Jose, a 3 p.m. puck drop on Sunday. Boys then get a trio of days off before coming back to Palm Desert and facing, wait for it, yeah, you guessed it, San Jose, again. Next Thursday, December 12th, 7 p.m. start against the Barracuda. Get a day off Friday the 13th, spooky, before another back-to-back. This one could also be palpable. 2 games in a row against first place Calgary. That is Saturday, December 14th, 6 p.m. start here at Acrisure Arena, followed directly by Sunday, December 15th, a 3 p.m. puck drop. The duration of the year, the duration of December, of course, has all manner of great theme nights. You can find those, by the way, at cvfirebirds.com per the scheduling while you're poking around on there. I'm not sure if I mentioned this yet. If not, I should have, or I will certainly do so again before this program is over. Let's not forget that we are the home and the host to this season's AHL All-Star Classic. You can find individual tickets now at cvfirebirds.com. That is Sunday, February 2 and Monday, February 3. Let's get to the scores, and let's get to the team, and let's get to the roster in this Firebirds freeze frame portion of the show. Ryan Winterton is your leading Firebirds scorer in the season to date with 15 points. That includes a team-high 7 goals coupled with 8 assists. Ryan, of course, not donning a Firebirds sweater at present, and maybe, at least in my humble opinion, never again. Called up to the Kraken on 11/28. That was last week, November 28th, and subsequently, not only getting points for us, but he got his first NHL point via an assist in the Kraken's win over Carolina. Kudos to you, Ryan. Right behind him on the Firebirds scoring tally, defenseman Cale Fleury, 13 points thus far in the season, 5 goals coupled with 8 assists. Cale, by the way, tied for 7th for scoring among AHL defensemen. With 12 points apiece, a trio of players, rookies Jagger Firkus and Edward Chalet, along with defenseman Max Lajoie. Max pairing 2 goals with a team-high 10 assists. Jagger and Edward Chalet, by the way, tied for 13th in the AHL among rookies with those 12 points thus far. The captain, Max McCormick, he has played in 12 games this year. He's got 11 points to show for it. Also with 11 points, newcomer Ben Myers. Ben has been playing great of late, rather. A couple of great goals in back-to-back games. He has his 11 points in 14 games for the Firebirds thus far into the season. Among the netminders, Ales Stejka, 4-6-2 on the year with a 3.10 goals against, save percentage of .898. And the desert is going cuckoo for Coco. Nikke Coco, 20-year-old rookie. He is 6-0-1 on the season with a 2.69 goals against, save percentage of .889. Those 6 wins thus far on the season for Nikke. They're tied for first among American Hockey League rookie netminders. All right, friends, all that offered, all that prefaced, let's get to this episode's visit with Birds forward Ian McKinnon. All right, Firebirds friends. My guest on this episode of Fire and Ice is 26-year-old native, a frontliner from Whitby, Ontario, now in his 7th season of professional hockey. Good trivia question here. He was one of the first 2 signings, kind of a signings in tandem in the Coachella Valley Firebirds history. That's back in July of 22. Now in his 3rd season with the Birds, he is one of 5 men to have been with us since the franchise's inception. We welcome Ian McKinnon to the Fire and Ice podcast. Hello, Ian.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well, man. Appreciate you joining. I'm going to ask that trivia question to you back in July of 22 when the Birds signed you. It's kind of a trick trivia question because we signed you and we signed another dude on the exact same day at the exact same time. Now, that guy never donned a Firebirds sweater. Do you know who that might be?
Yeah, I think I thought his name was like Sam UK or
That's
is that how
really
you
good.
say it?
Yes, it's Sam.
Yeah.
I looked up a video to see how to pronounce his surname. It's Samuel Bucek or Busek. He's Slovakian.
Okay.
Good
Yeah.
memory.
So yeah, I remember that day very well. And yeah, I think it wasn't long after that they said he wasn't reporting. I think he signed in the KHL or something. But yeah, his loss, I guess.
Yeah, he is still playing for what it's worth in his native Slovakia. But yeah, we don't need him. We got you,
No.
and you're still here.
Yeah, there we go.
I think we should omit him officially from the record since he never skated for us, and we just refer to Ian McKinnon as the first ever signing. And
I know they always kind of gave him the number 1 rankings for the first ever, but that's all right. They can think what they want.
We are about a third of the way into the Firebirds' 3rd season. I don't often get into specific games too much on this program, Ian, but last night, and this will come out on a Wednesday, or rather, it will come out on a Thursday of this week. So when I say last night, I'm referring to Tuesday night of this week. Kind of a weird one for the Birds, man. You guys riding a 10-game point streak. The worst team in the league, at least record-wise. Plus, they have like Tron helmets. They have funky silver buckets on their heads. They come into Acrisure Arena on kind of a quiet, whatever, Tuesday night. And Henderson did beat you 4-3. Did that rub you the wrong way a little bit that they took that one?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes those games can get behind you a little quick, especially when it's a team that is lower in the standings, because a lot of the time you end up maybe playing down to their level, or you're just thinking it's going to be an easy night, and sometimes they can come in and sting you one in your home rink. It should never happen, but that's the problem with a lot of these teams. Are looking to get on the road and get a lot of those greasy road wins, and that's the time that we have to step up and be better at home. Yeah, it's kind of unacceptable to lose a game like that, especially at home after we've been playing so well. But they definitely do happen, and we got to just limit those throughout the season.
What was also strange, if not aberrant, about last night's box score, actually, there were several things: goals given, goals taken away, goals reviewed, but perhaps even more than that, that the fight last night came compliments of young David Goyette and not the veteran Ian McKinnon. But David availed himself pretty well in the fight last night, don't you think?
Yeah, Goisey did great in the fight. It was great of him to step up and step in. I think Tucker kind of got posted up there, coming down the wall, and it was great of Goisey to step up for his line mate and for the team, and it gave us some energy. I think we scored right after that, and guys just need to know that they shouldn't be afraid to get in the mix, and there's a lot of guys that have toughness in them, and it could come out more often, I think. And, once they get comfortable doing it, I think it'll make our team a lot stronger. And, but yeah, kudos to Goisey for stepping up, and it was good to see.
That was my perhaps not so natural segue into discussing fighting, which, as you imagined, I have a host of numbers and many questions to ask you. Let's go with this. We're going to go kind of broad. In your time with the Firebirds, 92 games, that's regular season, 17 fights. That's a pretty high percentage. I'm not that good at math, but it's a lot of games. I'm just going to mention that one before I mention some other numbers and then step back, Ian. Do you like to fight? And I ask that because I've spoken with other, if you want me to use the word enforcer, I will. We can use a different word if you prefer. It's your trade. But other guys that have been in a number of hockey fights and professional hockey fights, and some of them have told me that they do not like to fight in hockey. Do you like to fight?
Yeah, I mean, I've always, since I was younger, I always kind of, had a little grit to my game, and fighting always kind of just fell into my hands sometimes. So, once you kind of get used to it and feel more comfortable doing it, it's not necessarily do you like it, or do you love it? But it's more just do you feel comfortable doing it? And I definitely think I do feel comfortable with anybody. And obviously it's a job, and as you go along in your career, like, you have to figure out what your role is, and this is obviously my role, and I take a lot of honor and being able to put on the Firebirds jersey and to protect my teammates when I can, and yeah, that's pretty much the name of the game.
You use the word comfortable. Is there a number of fights, or is there a specific instance, or is there a lesson learned, or is it just the volume over the years that made you comfortable in that situation?
Yeah, probably just the volume. And yeah, just the more you do it, the more comfortable you can become. But I feel like there's a lot of guys, in the same shoes around the league that, it's less do they love doing it. As you maybe get a little older, guys don't love doing it, but do they feel comfortable doing it? And they know that it's a good energy booster for their team. And there's kind of no other high really, like like maybe getting in the mix in front of a big crowd or something, and feeling the energy. So I think a lot of guys build off that too.
Yeah, it definitely, there's nothing in the sport of hockey save for maybe an overtime goal or something, but it's a rare instance that something else, another moment in a game, will usurp the excitement and the attention that it gets from the fans, from your players, the way that it can ignite a team. Like of the other players I've talked to that have gotten in a lot of fights, that's kind of how they described it. They felt, they said they didn't like it, but they felt it was their job. They felt, in a sense, it was their duty to step in and to create, that role for themselves to be that. Have you felt that way for a long time?
Yeah, I think as I kind of got older, and throughout junior, it was always I felt like the different leagues I was playing in, it was tough to find fights and maybe find a role. But definitely as I got older and kind of shaped my game and in my role into what it is today, I feel like just knowing the right moments of the game and just doing your job when you can was the most important thing to turning yourself into the player you want to be. And
Yeah.
that's how it's turned out.
I mean, some of the percentages, and I'll go into these numbers. We're delving back into the Ian McKinnon annals of time here. 2020, 2021, played 10 games with Providence that year, 5 fights. 23 games in the ECHL with Jacksonville, 8 fights to show for it. Again, I'm not doing the math, but that's 33 games and 13 fights. The next year, 11 games in the AHL with Providence, 5 fights to show for it. And then you split 20 games in the ECHL between Maine and Jacksonville, 5 more fights. Between those numbers and what I mentioned for the Firebirds, 4 fights this year, by the way. I mean, it's such like, do you go into a game knowing full well that when you suit up, there is a likelihood that there will be a fight that night?
Yeah, I definitely think there is nights that that there could be a fight, or that there's other teams out there that are tough and that like to match our energy. So it's just whether or not you're gonna beat them to it. And if you're if that there's other guys on the other team that might answer for whatever happens out there, then something could come up. But for the most part, you just want to get out there and play to start the game and just feel it out. Well, don't feel it out, but set the tone. And then if there's a problem with that, then it can be adjusted. But yeah, over the last couple of years, I think it's tough. When you're not getting in a lot of games, and you're still trying to make a living and make sure your job's respected and earn yourself a job. Maybe you have to mix it up a little more, instead of when you're playing 50 games and you have a little more time to stretch out your 10 fights. And
last year you appeared in 20 games. This year, more of a regular Ian McKinnon presence with 15 games played. It's got to be nice for you, man, to be seeing more ice time on a nightly basis.
Yeah, it's been good so far. With the new coaching staff in here, I feel like I've gotten a lot of opportunity so far. And
friends, you're tuning into the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is Firebirds forward Ian McKinnon. Talked about the new coaching staff. Do you feel that it's been a big transition for the Firebirds this year under Derek Laxdal?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of new faces that have been that came into the organization this year, through coaches and through players. So, I think throughout the locker room, and I think the goal in the locker room is still the same with Coach Lax. We want to win. We want to be a competitive team in the league. And but yeah, I think Coach Laxdale, he's brought a new look to the locker room and some new energy. And I think it's with a lot of the new guys and the original guys from last year, I think everyone's really liking the direction it's going. And I think we've had a great start to the season. A couple nights that we've had a little bump in the road, but other than that, I think we're all starting to gel, and everyone's understanding, how Laxey wants us to play. And I think as we move forward here, things are going to start straightening out for us some more, and hopefully we can take our way off to the top of the standings.
I know that for me, if I bring it back to fighting, Derek Laxdal, in his day, he wasn't afraid of a scrape. I mean, and by the way, I should mention that when I go and and research and watch some of these. Maybe you do too, Ian. Are you familiar with hockeyfights.com?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a wonderful resource. It's like a whole library of every fight you've ever been in, and if they're more modern, there's a video to accompany.
Yeah. No, it is a good site. They usually post a lot of them.
Derek Laxdal against Clark Gillies, against one of the Suter brothers. I think it was Dwayne Suter. And then, of course, also on your bench, we've got Stu Bickle, who was a well-known enforcer in his 10, 11 years in pro hockey. 99 professional fights for Stu. Did you know it was that many?
Yeah, I knew Stu. I actually probably thought it was more. Stu,
those are just the pro fights.
Yeah, Stu's quite the character. He's a great coach to have in the locker room, and you know, a lot of guys are learning from him every day. He and obviously everyone knows he's got his sparky side to him. You know, you keep you don't want to get in a barking match with him, but no, he's a great guy, and yeah, we put up a couple of his fights in the locker room. The odd day of him, I think he had that one that went viral with him at Madison Square Garden there when he took the center draw there as a D-man. But yeah, no, Bix. I know Bix was a tough guy, and I know Laxi was too. Laxi's got that gritty side to him. That's quite funny actually. So no, it's good.
Here's something that you can nudge Stu Bickle about when you talk to him about this subject matter. 13 of his fights, again, this is according to hockeyfights.com, resource that I trust. 13 of those 99 fights occurred in preseason games. That seems like a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think Bix spent a lot of time up and down from the NHL and the American League. So I think, you know, I believe the NHL used to have more than a couple preseason games. So a lot of those games were times where bubble guys were, you know, trying to make the team. So maybe they were in 5 games, they'd get in 5 fights, right? Just to, you know, try to earn their spot. And I think there was a lot of more guys that were itching for those 1 or 2 spots that were open. So say there was 6 tough guys looking for one job. They're all fighting, you know, for that one spot. So I'm sure Bix had quite a few good preseason pelts.
All right. You in a fight against Stu Bickle, what would happen?
I'll give it to Bix. You know, he's a little weathered these days, I think. But, you know, I'll let him take that. I respect him enough to just, you know, I'll give him the win.
Okay.
But he's weathered. He'd be better find a good day.
In watching a lot of your fights, Ian, whether it be in person or going back to some of these videos, I noticed, and I hope if we get into trade secrets, that's all the better. We'll talk about what you are comfortable talking about. But I do notice a similar theme in your style of attack, and I hope you don't mind my mentioning this. Anyone can watch these videos, but oftentimes you like to grab the collar of the opponent with your left hand as you two face off. Is that an accurate assessment?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you do that?
Yeah. Well, if like your right hand's your strong hand, that's kind of your hand you want to be free. So I think grabbing with your less dominant hand, and you can kind of control the body a little more with that, and then use your right hand as your more powerful punch. But yeah, I think that's what most guys do.
Is grab that collar spot, not an uncommon spot to try to get some leverage.
Yeah, I think guys are either grabbing the across the arm more by the bicep, or you know, if you want to grab the collar, maybe if the guy's a little longer, you can kind of keep your distance if you grab his collar and, you know, use your reach as to keep your separation from him. But yeah, guys mix it up too. It's depending on just, you know, how it starts and what kind of grab you get.
Again, going through these videos, Ian, all shapes and sizes, man. You have taken on all comers seemingly afraid of no man on the ice. Like, who's the guy? Keaton, somebody from Colorado. He's about 7'2", and you have not shied away from that guy. Like, is there any? I don't. We don't have to name a specific person, but do you ever look at a guy and you can sense that a fight is coming, and you're like, nah. Does that ever cross your mind?
No, no, I don't think so. I think I think there's some big guys out there, but you have to remember they're all human, and I don't really think any of them punch any harder than the rest of them, and just because they're big doesn't mean they can't go down, I guess, right? So yeah, you just gotta stick in there, and I think there's different strategies to fighting different guys of different sizes. Um, and but yeah, any fight can go any way, and you never know. But yeah, you always just give it your best. And
Can you share? You say different strategies. Can you share a trade secret or two?
yeah, well, just like with a longer guy, you know, if you grab the center of his shirt, you can just keep your hands high on him, and make sure you're working with both hands. Your left hand, keep it kind of busy. That can kind of distract them a bit. But maybe on a smaller guy, you can get him in a little more tight, and you know get him that way. But yeah, I'll save the strategies for my back pocket maybe.
Understood. You ever been in a fight off the ice?
Yeah, well, I played lacrosse growing up, so I played a lot of I had quite a few of those growing up. It was definitely a big part of the indoor lacrosse. Um, so yeah, I did that a couple times on my feet. But yeah, other than that, no.
Okay. I'm going to wrap it up with this one with Ian McKinnon, Firebirds forward. Little Birdie told me, Ian, that earlier this week, while our former Firebird friends were in town, Cole Lind and Cameron Hughes, that you teed it up with those guys, played some golf. Of course, we're going to face them again before the week is out with the Texas Stars. Is that accurate? That the information that I got?
Yes, it is. It is. It was Luke Henman and I versus Husey and Lindy, and yeah, we got out to Toscana there in Palm Desert, and got around it. And we're kind of a group that played a lot together the last 2 years, and we're all very close buddies, and it was good to see them. Actually, Husey got a hole in one on hole 4 that day, so that was actually uh yeah, just made it a crazy day.
You got a hole in
And
one.
yeah, he got a hole in one. Yeah, and I think that was his second of the year. But yeah, me and Luke Henman absolutely dominated them all over the golf course. It wasn't really that close, but yeah, they're decent. They're pretty good golfers, and yeah, it was good to see them again. Just being out here with them on a beautiful day, it was yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, I hope them all the best.
After that game, John Hayden was in the media room post game, and we referenced their return. Of course, they got a nice standing ovation, and a crowd took a moment, deservedly so. They were great Firebirds.
Yeah.
And I asked John, I said, once the game starts, are those guys still your friends and former teammates, or is it just another hockey game? And he said, look, in our trade, there's so much turnover that you're going to get that against former teammates, not every night, but a lot of nights. So he kind of suggested that, look, the game starts, it's just another game. And like you kind of forget the fact that those are your buddies and guys that you had a lot of success with here in the Coachella Valley. Same answer for you or different?
Yeah, I agree. I think yeah, it's definitely weird seeing them on the other side, but once the puck drops, it's you got to have your game face on. You can't um you can be buddies after the game, or before, maybe not before the game, but yeah, everyone's got a job to do, and if unfortunately sometimes you have to go up against your buddies, and you know just the way of the game.
Loose puck in the corner. You are coming from one end. Cole Lind is coming from the other end. You just played golf with him, and although you did beat him in golf, you see it's your buddy. You see it's your former teammate. Is there an instinct that says let up just like a little bit, or is it still full throttle?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to see anybody get hurt. And definitely not a friend of yours. There's definitely different ways to go about winning a battle, or maybe rubbing a buddy out. But yeah, I think it's definitely clean to get some body contact. But yeah, you definitely don't want to go to your way to try to hurt anybody, or But if he's trying to take the puck from me, then maybe you gotta give him a little chop in the hands or something. Who knows?
Ian McKinnon, appreciate your time, man. Keep playing and keep playing well. Thank you for joining the Fire and Ice podcast. It's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it, and it was a great chatting with you, and I hope catch you sometime at a game.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right, Firebirds flock. It's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. So appreciative of your time, your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor. People do ask me sometimes, hey, how many listeners? Where are people listening? What are some stats? Things like that. I guess I will tell you herein that, proud to say, nearly 30 countries around the world have tuned into the Fire and Ice podcast, along with 39, checking my list, make that 40 states around this great country have tuned into this program. Among the recent listeners, or some recent listeners, I do need to point out Judsonia, Arkansas. Are you out there? I'm biased, although you do spell your Judd in Judsonia with one D. I'm a double D. I don't know if that's why you're listening because of my name, or maybe you just love Firebirds hockey. Anyway, appreciate the listener and or listeners in Judsonia, Arkansas. Need to make my way there sometime. Further appreciation, of course, goes to this episode's guest, Birds forward Ian McKinnon. Great to chat with Ian on this program for the first time. And additionally, the support of Desert Willow Golf Resort right here in Palm Desert, California. You can get your tee times online for the Mountain View and Firecliff courses at desertwillow.com. Again, the Firecliff course just wrapping up its overseed. That is going to be reopened on December the 20th. Desert Willow will then be back to its full complement of 36 holes. In the interim, get those tee times for the Mountain View course, and be sure to check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. Again, that's desertwillow.com. And while giving out addresses, I've got to remind you one more time, cbfirebirds.com. That's your hockey home and your hub for all things Firebirds. Tickets, merchandise, roster, community information, also those Firebirds Insider articles. And don't forget to check out individual tickets. It's going to come up fast, dudes. The AHL All-Star Classic taking place right here in our desert sands, right here at Acrisure Arena. That is Sunday, February 2 and Monday, February 3. You can get those individual tickets online now at cvfirebirds.com. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Will you see you this Thursday at the Bird's Nest of Acrisure Arena with a rematch against the Texas Stars. Until then, and always, remember, one valley, one team, rising together.